Elsewhere, Dhruva Maharaj, having arrived at Madhuvan, took his bath in the river Jamuna, and observing fasting in the night with great care and attention. Then, after that, as advised by the sage Narad Muni, he engaged himself in worshipping the Supreme Lord. For the first month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only fruits and berries on every third day, only to keep his body and soul together. In the second month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only every 6 days, and for his eatables he took dry grass and leaves. In the third month he drank water only every 9 days. Thus he remained completely in trance and worshipped the Supreme Lord Vishnu, who was adored by selected verses. In the fourth month, Dhruva Maharaj became a complete master of the breathing exercise, and thus he inhaled air only every 12th day. By the 5th month, Dhruva Maharaj, the son of the king, had controlled his breathing so perfectly that he was able to stand on only one leg, just as a column stands, without motion, and concentrate his mind fully on the Parabrahman. When Dhruva Maharaj had thus captured the Supreme Lord, who is the refuge of the total mature creation, and who is the master of all living entities, then the 3 worlds began to tremble. As Dhruva Maharaj, the king's son, kept himself steadily standing on one leg, the pressure of his big toe pushed down half the earth, just as an elephant being carried on a boat rocks the boat left and right with every step. When Dhruva Maharaj became practically one in heaviness with Lord Vishnu, the total consciousness, due to his fully concentrating and closing all the holes of his body, the total universal breathing became choked up, and all the great demigods in all the planetary systems felt suffocated and took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Pahimam, Pahimam, Pahimam. Hey Prabhu, you are the refuge of all moving and non-moving living entities.
We feel all living entities to be suffocating, their breathing processes choked up. We have never experienced such a thing.
Since you are the ultimate shelter of all surrendered souls, we have therefore approached you. Please save us from this danger.
My dear demigods, do not be perturbed by this. It is due to the severe austerity and full determination of the son of King Uttanapad, who is now fully absorbed in thought of me. He has obstructed the universal breathing process. You can safely return to your respective homes. I shall stop this boy in his severe acts of austerities, and you will be saved from this situation.
When the demigods were thus reassured by the personality of Godhead, they returned to the heavenly planets. Then the Lord, who is non-different from Sahasrisha, the incarnation of the Lord with 1,000 heads, he got back on Garuda, who carried him to the Madhuvan forest to see the servant, Dhruva. The form of the Lord, which was brilliant like lightning, and which Dhruva Maharaj in his mature yogic process was fully absorbed in meditation, all of a sudden disappeared. Thus Dhruva was perturbed, and his meditation broke. But as soon as he opened his eyes, he saw before him the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as he had been seeing in his own heart. Dhruva Maharaj, in ecstasy, looked upon the Lord as if he were drinking the Lord with his eyes, kissing the lotus feet of the Lord with his mouth, and embracing the Lord with his arms. Although Dhruva Maharaj was a small boy, he wanted to offer prayers to the Supreme Lord in a suitable language, but because he was inexperienced, he could not adjust himself immediately. The Supreme Lord, being situated in everyone's heart, could understand Dhruva Maharaja's awkward position. Out of his causeless mercy, he touched his conch shell to the forehead of Dhruva Maharaj. At that time, Dhruva Maharaj became perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion and understood the absolute truth and his relationship with all living entities.
My dear Lord, you are all-powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened all my sleeping senses. My hands, legs, ears, touch sensation, life force, and especially my power of speech. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. My Lord, you are the Supreme One. You create the total energy of the material world by your external potency. After creation, you have entered within the material world as the Supersoul. O unlimited Lord, kindly bless me so that I may associate with great devotees who engage in your transcendental, loving service constantly. My Lord, O Supreme Lord, you are the supreme personified form of all benediction. Therefore, for one who abides in your devotional service with no other desire, worshipping your lotus feet is better than becoming king and lording it over a kingdom.
My dear Dhruva, son of the king, you have executed pious vows, and I also know the desire within your heart. Although your desire is very ambitious and very difficult to fulfill, I shall favor you with its fulfillment. All good fortune unto you. I shall award you the glowing planet known as the Pole Star. No one has ever ruled this planet, which continues to exist even after the dissolution of all others. All the luminaries in the sky circumambulate this planet, just as bulls tread around a central pole for the purpose of crushing grains. After your father goes to the forest and awards you the rule of his kingdom, you will rule continuously the entire world for 36,000 years. You will never become old. My dear Dhruva, after your material life in this body, you will go to my planet, which is always offered obeisances by the residents of all other planetary systems. And having gone there, you will never again have to come back to this material world.
After being worshipped and honored by the boy, and after offering him his abode, Lord Vishnu on the back of Garuda returned to his abode as Dhruva Maharaj looked on. Despite having achieved the desired result of his determination by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj was not very pleased, and thus he returned to his home.
Alas, just look at me. I am so unfortunate. I approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can immediately cut the chain of the repetition of birth and death, but still, out of my foolishness, I prayed for things that are perishable. Because of my state of complete foolishness, although the Lord offered me his personal service, I wanted material name, fame, and prosperity. My case is just like that of the poor man who, when he satisfied a great emperor who wanted to give him anything he might ask, out of ignorance asked only for a few broken grains of husked rice.
When Dhruva returned to his father's palace, the king and his queens were overjoyed to see him, as if returning to life. Even his stepmother Suruci blessed him with a long life.